How you doing, y'all? Welcome to Confidence. Today, I feel very relaxed and I'm very energized. That's crazy. I feel very relaxed. Actually, I feel very energized. It's true. You could actually feel both at the same time. I think what I'm feeling is like genuine inspiration for this work, genuine inspiration for the things that I'm doing. I feel so good about my creativity. I feel so good about the things that are happening on this podcast, something that's coming down the pipeline. I just wanted to give you guys a little preview, but I believe I'm putting together a membership book club type thing where maybe we can meet once a month, get into a group chat, and go through some books, read a book every month, talk about the book. I'm going to write you guys some newsletters. It's going to be dope as fuck. Just really want to be able to create some more community. But on top of that, just everything just feels in flow. And I'm just so happy to be here and be able to share all these things because I really feel like I've hit this point where, I don't know, I trust in the things that I'm doing. And, if you guys have been listening to podcasts for a very long time, I've always had those moments. Of course, life is up and down, right? We talked about life being uncertain at a lot of times, but right now feels like one of those times in my life that I've never been more certain, I think, of the vision, of where I'm going, of what I'm creating, trusting what I'm creating. Yes, I might not have the results that I want right now, but that's okay. I just feel like I am truly that inspired in what I'm doing. Now, with that being said, let's jump into the meat, which is today we're going to talk about, I think, just avoidance in general, but specifically more for my avoidant women. I have a situation that somebody sent in, maybe possibly about an avoidant woman. We're going to look at that situation. Somebody also sent in a question about her man and liking people's pictures on TikTok. And there's just this big wave right now of people that feel overwhelmed with social media and their relationships. So we're going to get into that a little bit. And then if I do have some time at the end, I will touch on situationships, but I don't believe I'm going to get there today because we really do have a lot to cover. So let's start off with a little bit of a story about a client that I was working with. There's two women that come into mind, and one was anxious, and we're going to talk about her. She's the one who dropped this line, who kind of influenced this podcast, but she said, when guys are nice to me, I start to act like an asshole and give them attitude. She said that to me verbatim. And she's way more anxious than she is avoidant, but I told you guys all the time, right? Even as an anxious person, you will also still lean avoidant. And the reason for that is, to me, it's really just a self-worth issue. It's just the way that you know how to love. You're more comfortable with distance. You're more comfortable with people criticizing you and treating you poorly. You're just used to that energy. And so because of that, you start to attract that energy in your life. Again, really clinging on to the people that are really not good for you and pushing away the people that might be showing up genuine for you. But this story is more for this girl that I work with. I would say she's just more straight avoidant, right? There's no, I don't think she has a ton of anxiety. She had a little bit over this recent time with this guy. But so here's the thing. I'm going to set up the stage, right? We were working together. She came to me, she was talking to this guy, vibes were there. They, are building towards what she felt was a relationship. And, as she kept going on, she started to feel in her body, she's like, I don't know, this guy's starting to not take this relationship seriously. So along the way, she's dating this guy who's another avoidant, and eventually things just end, right? He doesn't show up for her enough. He pretty much admits to her flat out that he doesn't think that he could support a relationship. And eventually she kind of lets it go. But obviously she doesn't fully let it go. You guys know how that goes, right? The avoidant guy leaves you and it's hard, right? The energy, the emotions you still have for that person, it lingers. And so she's in this new phase where she had kind of let him go, but again, let him go in terms of the reality, but didn't let him go in terms of emotionally, right? She was still holding on to that a little bit. Her friends set her up with this guy, right? This guy is super excited about her and has been wanting a chance with her, I think, for a very long time. And what kind of happens is as they're meeting up for a date and getting to know each other, they hang out, they have a moment. It's very hot and heavy, but she leaves that, I think, initial date feeling like, wow, like, we had a vibe, it was cool, but like, I just don't know about this guy. That was kind of the feeling. It's like, yeah, we hung out and it was chill, but like, I'm not really sure. Something didn't feel right. She keeps moving on with this guy, right? Now she's kind of like having him in the background. To be honest, you really want to know the truth. She told me vulnerably her truth was she was not yet ready to date, but she felt pressured from her friends to just go on this date with this guy and to start this relationship with this guy because they were just pushing her to do it, right? Hey, meet this guy, right? Get out of your comfort zone. Come on, just date somebody, right? Why are you worried about this other guy that, essentially didn't show up for you? But I think this is what happens with a lot of people, right? Is like they feel that they need something else in order to fill that gap, right? It's very uncomfortable to face those uncomfortable emotions, just head on. So, I think against her own body, right? She then continues on in this relationship with this new guy, right? She keeps going on dates with him. We're talking about it. She's just feeling like, nah, I don't really know. I kind of feel like he's not going to be able to lead me. He can't take the lead. I think he was a little younger than her. And I think that was throwing her off because the guy previous was a little bit older. So obviously you guys know how that goes, right? It's a different vibration, I think. So, I think in a lot of ways, what ends up happening is she's taking this guy for granted. She is, right? He's showing up honest. He's showing up ready. He's showing up available. She, on the other hand, is coming off this previous situation with an avoidant guy that, took a shit. And yeah, she just, I think, is struggling to get emotionally close to this guy. She kept telling me, she's like, Chris, I don't know if I'm attracted to her. And I relate to that a lot too, right? You guys know that too, where like, as I'm an avoidant guy, I'm working through that, right? I'm not perfect. I'm not all the way there yet. I'm working on becoming more secure. And I know that feeling so fucking well, where it's like when somebody's showing up, they're fucking available, they're there. Sometimes it's hard to lean into them, honestly. And it's not that they're bad candidates or they're bad partners. Genuinely, they're not. I tell you guys all the time that I look back at some of my previous relationships and I'm like, I think if I wasn't wired the way that I am, like, I really truly believe that those could have been good relationships. Lo and behold, she's kind of doing the same thing to this guy, right? Remember the line I told you about the anxious girl early? She's kind of being dismissive towards this guy, right? She's not like putting her full self into the relationship. She's not, right? She's being a little bit dismissive. She's being a little bit cold at times. She could be a little critical of him at times. And so she started to just push him away subconsciously, right? Because I think she's still caught up in maybe what she had with the previous guy. The truth is she wasn't ready. Her body was telling her she wasn't ready and she kept doing it anyways. Long story short, she gets to the tail end of this situation. What ends up happening now is because she was being kind of dismissive, I think he started to pull back his energy a little bit, right? He was just like, whoa, I could tell that this person's not showing up for me and I'm not sure I'm liking this. So the last couple of times they were supposed to hang out, and this is her and the new guy, right? He was the one who was actually being like, yeah, I can't make it, or no, I'm not going to show up to that, right? He was pretty much just canceling those plans. She hits a point where she's telling me on the phone, she's like, Chris, I don't know if this is the right relationship for me. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm kind of done, So she ends up telling him her truth, and her truth was that she just wanted to be friends. And you guys want to hear something sick? She sends this text message, right, that she just wants to be friends. And he turns around and he accepts it. Hey, I feel the same way, whatever. I'm cool, right? We're good. And she turns around, and even just, I think, a day later from that text message, she's now texting me, Chris, why do I feel so weird that I sent that? Why do I feel so anxious that I told him that I just wanted to be friends? She was then feeling weird about the fact that he accepted it so easily. She's like, Chris, what? She's like, why am I waiting for his text messages now? All of a sudden, this energy flips, and now she's feeling some type of way. So obviously we're working together, and I'm like, whoa, obviously you didn't feel connected to this guy for this amount of time. You're dismissing the fuck out of him. And now all of a sudden you tell him you want to be friends. He accepts it. And now you're freaking out. Now all of a sudden things changed. And so what happens, right? And this is where that avoidant, push pull comes in. And you guys are also probably seeing it, from the man's perspective, because sometimes this would happen to me back in the day too, where like, yeah, you then exit the relationship and now all of a sudden you're worried about the relationship. The relationship that you didn't care about the entire time because they were showing up for you the entire time. Now you're freaking the fuck out. So I told her to sit with it. She went on, she took some time for herself, really. And I told her to just relax. I said, hey, you know what? I think you just need some space, get into your body, see how it feels, and see what you want to do, right? I think that if it's really meant to be in your life, you could let him know that you maybe fucked up and you might want another chance, Lo and behold, she sits with it for a little while. She's like, she's in her head the whole time. She's like, I need to get this off my chest. I'm in my head. Reaches out to him to try to rekindle the flame. And I believe that homie, he didn't follow through. He didn't want to do it. I guess understandably so. Which brings us to this energy, right? Which is like, I think a lot of people don't recognize, but the avoidance is like, it really is difficult. Sometimes it is so fucking hard to accept that real, genuine love. And this was one of those situations where I don't think it was necessarily this lack of alignment. I think it really leaned more towards her just pushing away something that maybe could have been good for her, right? Somebody that was actually available comparative to somebody that wasn't. A couple lessons in that story is like, number one, listen to your body. If you are not ready to date yet, do not date. Don't do it. Don't force yourself. I'm telling you, I can't tell you the amount of clients that I work with where like they are just, I'm telling you, you are using ego. You are using your mind. You were in your head. You were not paying attention to your body. Your body knows. Because here's what would have happened, right? Is like she turns around and she's like telling me now, she's like, Chris, I just regret the fact that I didn't give him a real chance. And that's the whole reason she went back to him in the first place, is because she's feeling like she didn't actually give it a real chance because she was not ready to date yet when she first started. If she had taken the proper amount of time, listened to her body that was telling her not to date, maybe told him, hey, now's not the right time, and left it for the future, maybe she could have started this relationship off on a different foot in a later time period. And a lot of people think that those feelings last for so much longer than they do. She probably only needed a few more weeks to move past it and really be on her own. But because she ignored what she felt and she just kept doing it because, I don't know, maybe it just felt good to have somebody around, right? Versus looking at the relationship as something that maybe she's coming to it with confidence of like, hey, I feel good with myself and now I'm ready to date. There's a way different energy than that. And how many people date like that in the first place? It's really just going ping pong from one person to the next. And you don't allow yourself to actually heal. You're never coming to a relationship clean if you haven't taken the proper amount of time. If you were truly not emotionally over the previous person, at least to me, 90%, 80%, you need to be at least at that point. If you're not at that point, it's fucked up. Because you're not going to give this next person a real chance, because then it's really like you might have been looking at it more for like the validation rather than for, somebody that actually you might legitimately take seriously. And so what ends up happening is she's paying the price for going against her feelings and her body. And it sucks because, and here's the thing though, I always tell all my avoidance, right? This is the big event. And I even told her, I was like, this is great that you're recognizing that, hey, you know what? He showed up available and I dismissed him. And I'm recognizing that I don't want to do that anymore. And to me, that's a major step for every single avoidance. You got to go through that experience. I truly believe that. I think every avoidant needs to go through that experience in which they run away from somebody that was showing up for them. And they recognize after the fact that because of their self-protection and their self-sabotage, that they might have ruined something that was really good. I think you need to go through that. And I think that was the situation for her in this situation. Again, I don't think it's the end-all be-all partner for her. I told her that too, right? Like if it was truly meant to be in her life, this person, I don't think she would have let it go. I do believe that she needs to work on her avoidant tendencies 1000%. But at the end of the day, her real person is out there. And I told her, look at this as an opportunity for you to do what you didn't do the first time, which is take some time for yourself. Be on your own, recreate your identity, get back on your feet. Because you are going to find the right person for you. And next time, You're going to be fucking prepared. And that's what I told her too. This is why. It's a stepping stone to the right direction. And I'm happy that she showed up and she was vulnerable and she spoke her truth and she actually put herself in harm's way, in rejection's way, by offering to rework on things. That was so important for her. Because that is so fucking tough to do for an avoidant. It really is. To put yourself in the face of disappointment or rejection, that to me is the hardest thing. That's the reason that you run away. It's the reason that you're not vulnerable in the first place. Is because you're scared of what it means if somebody could actually be there and be available. So let's talk about some ways or some responses, core avoidant reactions that may happen. So here's the tough part. Sometimes when somebody's showing up with so much energy or consistency, maybe it's not even like over the top, but let's say they're texting you a good amount. So I wrote down responsiveness can equal responsibility, right? When somebody's reaching out to you a bunch, the hard part for an avoidant is you then feel responsible to match that energy, right? So if somebody's showing up to you and they're showing you all this energy, they're saying good morning, they're texting you in the afternoon, the evening, the night, you might feel that you need to or you have to respond to that person. It could feel overwhelming. And so that's the hard part about of being an avoidant as well too, is learning to go at your own pace, right? Understanding your avoidance and still going slow. And it really all is going to come down to self-trust. Trust your body, right? So my anxious, remember I said there was two girls, the one who dropped the line about treating guys like shit. You know, something that has happened for her recently is she meets a new guy. It's the same vibe, right? This guy's showing up. He's available, good energy. What's her core reaction to that? It's like, whoa, this is a lot. In her body, actually. So we talked about on the phone. It's crazy. After 2 weeks of talking to this guy, he wanted to jump into a relationship. And here's the hard part for my client, right? On one hand, she's like, okay, well, that's safety and security for me. I do want that. But what was her body telling her? Her body was telling her on the phone, hey, this is a little bit too fast. And, you know, she still went through with the relationship and, you know, is still like trying to work on it with this guy. But you don't ignore those true feelings underneath, right? It's so important to stay true to those fucking feelings. I tell you guys all the time. Because here's what happens is like, if you're able to feel that and you're able to feel that overwhelm and communicate that, right? Have the self-trust to be like, whoa, hey, actually, you know what? I'm not ready to jump into a relationship yet. I think I need some more time. You are creating the dynamic that is going to be the way that you actually receive a great relationship. Because if you just go too fast and you blow through your own boundaries, you blow through your own feelings because you feel like you need this sense of security, I think you're making your own bed. Like I said, there's been so many examples in my own, I'm telling you, just from the people that I've worked with directly, where when they go against those true feelings underneath, they're fucked because they're signing up for something that they don't want to do. But again, that responsiveness, right? It's like when that guy shows up so consistently, she might feel this pressure to match it. And again, when you're starting to feel that pressure, that's when you need a release or just go at your own pace. I genuinely feel like you have to understand it's the fear of loss sometimes that also keeps us thinking that we need to go at their pace. Oh, well, if I don't match their pace, then what if they get mad? What if they start to feel some type of way? You know how many times as an avoidant guy, I have felt that personally, where like a girl's showing up, she's then texting me, and because I'm scared of her feeling weird, I'm then matching her energy on the texting. Meanwhile, the entire time, I'm feeling this level of overwhelm and I'm not being honest about it. Or I'm not going at the pace that I want to go. So what I've recognized now for me is when that's happening, right? Let's say somebody's showing up with a good amount of energy. I go at the pace that I like to go. Now, there's a little give and take with it, right? It's not like I'm going to ghost you or some shit. It's not that. You don't need to do that. But go at the pace that you want to go. And if it becomes too overwhelming, communicate that. I know that's so fucking hard to do, but you got to communicate that. And here's the other part. Here's another reaction. Intimacy can feel like risk, right? Closeness feels like exposure, and exposure feels unsafe. And what we're really saying here is the hard part for avoidant people is that when somebody is so available, that is very vulnerable, because it's almost like now you have to, again, feel like you're going to match that, or it's almost like put up or shut up. It's almost like because somebody is there and they're ready, that could feel overwhelming, because now it feels like, fuck, that means I got to do it, right? That feels risky. That means I have to share and be there with them. And it's just a fucking scary feeling, right? The other thing too is like connection could just feel like a loss of control. Letting him in can feel like losing power and losing independence and losing yourself. And I think that's the main one for avoidance, to be honest. And that's what I fucking feel too. It's so hard. When somebody is so available, it's like, fuck. It does feel overwhelming because you've cultivated, I don't even want to call it safety, because it's really not, right? It's like you're really just protecting yourself. You're protecting yourself from actually having to show yourself to somebody. Because imagine if I have to now give my time, my energy. What if I give that to you and then you take advantage of it? Because I think that's really what it is underneath. I think really for avoidant women, it really comes down to, right? Like, if you end up needing him, if you end up actually relying on him, then you're going to lose yourself. You're afraid of like what it might be to actually have somebody in your life and assimilate them into your life. And again, like I said, I know that feeling firsthand. I mean, honestly, I'm sitting here, single dude, no girl in my life. I mean, the recent girl that I was dating too, it was like, she was so available. She was so ready. It was just in front of my face, and it was overwhelming. And again, it's hard because sometimes you don't know the difference between it not feeling like attraction versus your own avoidance. You really just put up these fucking walls, and it happens so fast, and it happens so subconsciously. Anybody that shows you that availability or that good energy, or just, yeah, that sturdy, consistent energy, it's just like, whoa, am I ready for that? And that's what always the first question that comes to me, like, do I love everything about this? Am I ready for that? So, okay. Some things that you might feel as an avoidant. If he's too available, something must be wrong, right? It's like, it also feels like if they're showing up and they're providing so much energy, what's the catch, right? It almost just kind of feels like bullshit. Because that's also probably a reaction from the lack of trust that you have in love in general. Right? However you grew up around love, and this is what I think it really is. I genuinely think this is. When we have struggled to have emotionally close bonds growing up, right? We lack this trust in people seeing our true vulnerability. That's how we operate, right? We do not trust people with our vulnerability. We don't. So when somebody is like that, we're like, well, this feels weird, right? You're so much quicker to criticize it, to leave it, to protect yourself than it is to sink into that, because you're not used to that type of love. You're used to the love in which you had to earn it. You're used to the love in which you had to sidestep it with your logic and figure out how the fuck you were going to gain their acceptance, right? If you didn't have like this, let's just say, use your parents, for example, right? Let's say you didn't have this emotionally close relationship with your parents. Most of the time, you were just probably very reclusive, right? If you're an avoidant. And what you're doing is you're using your brain to try to sidestep around vulnerable conversations. You're learning to, how can I make this person happy? I'm not going to address how I actually feel. I might actually want love from you, but I'm not going to address that directly. I'm not going to open up, because if I did that, you would fucking crush me. You would use it and take advantage of my vulnerability. So instead, I'm going to clam the fuck up. I'm going to close up, and I'm going to learn to have this relationship with my mind. That's what it is. And that's what happens when you don't have that trust. And then it perpetuates into all of your later relationships in your life. And so that's what happens, right? So when this girl is asking this question of like, why is it when somebody is so nice to me, I treat them like an asshole, or I treat them like shit? Because to be honest, I think that is your nervous system reacting, right? It's your ego trying to control it and be like, nah, get away from me. Chill out with that. Fuck this. I'm good on this. Because, whoa, this is too much. Don't come that close to me, right? And that's the hard part about people that have an insecure attachment. You're just afraid, to be honest. So different ways that you can armor up, right? Or an avoidant might armor up. Gets annoyed, creates distance, picks apart tiny flaws. That's what you'll start doing too. I mean, think about the situation we just talked about with my client, right? He was a little bit younger than her. And I think because of that, she was really hyper fixated on that. Oh, this guy, he's not what I want. He can't lead. He might not be that. And that's the hard part too. The hardest part, because again, I'm an avoidant too. I do the same shit, right? I'll look at one aspect of the person and be like, oh, well, they don't have this. Then, whoa, I don't know about that. And of course, it's always to the people that are so fucking available to me, right? And that's what's so freaky about it is like, sometimes you don't know if it's truly incompatibility or if it's truly just your avoidance, if it's truly you just being afraid of having to assimilate into that person's life. That's why for a lot of these people, it's way easier to date somebody that is dismissive or distant or avoidant themselves because you don't actually have to get that close. That's why a lot of these people, right, that anxious girl that, again, she treats the nice guys like shit and she's chasing the guys that treat her like shit is because actually the guys that are treating her like shit, it's easier because she doesn't have to actually be vulnerable, right? She's used to that. Again, think about the relationship she had with her parents. If she was constantly criticized, wasn't ever allowed to open up or didn't feel safe enough to open up, that's what the relationship was. It was distant. She's used to that distance. She's used to the other person being a little bit more elusive because that's safer. That's more familiar to her. It's more familiar to get treated like shit and to have distance in a relationship. So when somebody's showing you closeness and availability, it's like, nah, I'm good on that. And that's why you'll pick apart that person because underneath, you might not believe that you deserve that type of close love. Or you might not even you're just not fucking used to it. You don't even know what it looks like. You don't even know what it feels like to truly be loved for who you are. It's a really fucked up thing. Remember back in the day when people were like, oh my God, I wish I was fucking avoidant. It's like, no, you fucking do not. No, you do not. And so you also might pretend that you don't care. I see this a lot from my avoidant women too, where like, yeah, it's like they'll just like start making these comments and just making believe. Like, think about the client I just told you about. She was just telling me how, it's not enough, or that she doesn't really care. It's just some fucking guy. You know what I mean? She's not really putting any stock into it. And then what happens? All of a sudden, now he's acting distant, and all of a sudden she's in love. It's so fucked. And then finally, yeah, you'll sabotage a connection. That's what she did, right? In a way. She had somebody that was open, available, ready, that I think she had a decent vibe with. Then she pushed him away, distant, cold, because she's not used to that. And yeah, until she did it too much. And now it's gone. So you really got to learn that lesson. And here's a line, right? You're not disgusted by the man. You're terrified of what it would mean to finally be loved right. It's like a lot of people in the dating pool, avoidant women, avoidant men, they swear up and down how much they want this genuine, real love. But a lot of those people are not equipped to receive that. But I know that battle. I know how it feels because, again, I'm also somebody that has like cultivated a life for myself beyond the relationship that, like I told you guys, I've been feeling so inspired. I've been feeling so like in love with my energy, my life. It's like, to be honest, you know what it is too? A lot of avoidance, they just feel special. And special based on like, because they were forced to only rely pretty much on themselves, they also built up this ego, right? So for me, right, I've built up this life for myself in which I've created a lot of success. I've created a lot of external things, right? An income, a following, right? I'm at the gym. I'm taking care of myself. I view myself in such a high light. So that's the other hard part too, is that like you're viewing yourself as this person that is just so like in tune with themselves, like the shit. Honestly, it's true. Like you truly view yourself that way. So that's the funny part is when somebody actually likes you, you kind of almost feel like, all right, what's, I don't know, maybe they're not worthy of my time because number one, I didn't have to earn it, right? That's the hard part. And then the second part is I have such this high view of myself that I'm looking a lot at relationships as more this like, I expected you to like me. That's what's crazy. An avoidant might turn around and be like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, think about my client, right? It was probably just like, this younger guy, he just wants me, I'm hot, I'm cool, and I'm going to take it for granted, right? Because a lot of it is, it's almost like weirdly ego games. It's validation games. Subconsciously, it's crazy. It's true though. So until your ego gets diminished and clocked down a couple times, then you fucking learn the lesson. And I think that is like what I just said right now to me is the journey of the avoidant in a way. It's like you throughout, like initially in life, you were dismissed, you were criticized, you were made to feel small. As a reaction to that, you feel inferior. Because your feelings of inferiority are deeply rooted in you, you then build this persona built on top of this feeling of feeling inferior and create this outer shell of how awesome you are, how amazing you are. All you're doing your entire life is trying to get the validation of other people to show you that you are worth something, to show you that you are worthy, to show you that you're whole, that you are enough, that you deserve some love. And so anybody that actually shows you genuine love, you don't really accept it because you now have built up this ego and this high view of yourself that if anybody is so available to you, it just doesn't feel like enough. And then what happens is I think later in life, you start to realize, holy fuck, I'm an egotistical fuck. Right? You start doing egotistical things, right? You'll chase after unavailable partners. You'll push away partners that are good for you. And eventually you'll hit that point where you'll experience all these negative things happening to you in a relationship where you then need to realize, holy fuck, I need to check myself. I need to get my shit right. I need to get my ego in check. I need to learn how to receive genuine love, and I need to stop chasing all the external bullshit. I need to stop having this false sense of, worthiness that is based on my external achievements and all these external things, and start to get my worthiness from within. And then eventually you start moving back towards those more wholesome connections. You start to believe in love. You start to trust real love. And I think that's where I am in my phase, right? Where, again, I told you guys, like, I can explain the exact journey, right? Chris didn't really receive a lot of love, kind of felt like baggage, kind of felt very inferior, just didn't feel like, maybe he deserved love. I always just felt like overlooked. And as a result of that, I become Confidence Chris. I feel only significant if other people are showing me that. I build this giant social media platform. I get all these tattoos. I'm taking testosterone. I jack myself up. I'm in the gym. I have all these habits to try to show people that I'm big and bad and that I'm the shit. Meanwhile, underneath, there really was this really fragile man that just really, at the end of the day, he did want love. He did. And I just felt that in order to get love, it meant I needed external things in order to receive that. And that's why I pushed away all these girls that came to me. And they came to me because... and honestly, it's the reverse, right? They're also in ego too, all these little anxious and avoidant girls that I've dated, because they see the outward success. They see the achievement. They want a piece. I'm being elusive towards them. So I look very attractive towards them. And I had to just let go of that, right? I definitely pushed away, like I said, some good people. And I think that's the journey we're on now, right? Which is like the second half of that avoidant journey, which is like, ego death, recognizing that I'm never going to get fulfillment from those external things. and really trying to get my fulfillment from more genuine sources, from who I am as a person, just the fact that I'm alive, from how good of a friend I am, from how good of a partner I am, looking more outwards than inwards, right? How can I be in service towards other? How can I love somebody today? How can I show up for my partner? Not about me. How can I show up for them? How can I make somebody else feel good? How can I create a podcast that influences somebody in a positive way? How can I make a video that will change somebody's life in a positive way? And this is for any avoidant. It comes down to you. It really does. It doesn't come down to the people around you. It's not about finding the perfect girl or the perfect person. And you really got to work on, those moments where you are being critical and you are pushing people away, and you got to try to recognize it in that moment and not let that reaction come too fast. And this is what we talked about again and again, about relaxing your nervous system, being very calm. You have to do that, or you're going to react and you're going to push people away and you're going to sabotage shit. So I think the more that you work on that aspect, you can actually reverse this. You don't have to be avoidant your whole life. All right, let's get to the situation. So this guy said, "Hi, not sure if you really respond to DMs, but need some of your advice. Been taking your advice on exploring multiple women at once. I went on a date with a girl I was really interested in on Wednesday. It went really well. Ended the night walking her to her dorm with a hug." Cute. College love. I love this shit. "Saw her again at the bar on Thursday. She came up to me, gave me a hug, and said she was happy to see me out. Then the next day, I go out for dinner with a few of my friends, 10 of us. I was walking to my car with my homie and 2 girls. She saw this. I had texted her earlier on Thursday that I had a great date and we should do something again soon. She hasn't answered me for 2 days now. Saw her at the bar again on Saturday after being undelivered for 1 day, and she said, 'Sorry, I've been busy.' Clearly, she's mad at me for chilling with other girls. What should I do? For context, we're in college and live on campus, so we see each other pretty much every day." So actually, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to tell you, I don't think it was about you seeing the other girl. It was not that. It wasn't that. And this is where you've tricked yourself into thinking that it was about that when it's not. At the end of the day, she didn't answer that text message about you guys having a good time. And it sounds to me like you sent that in the morning on Thursday and you went out to dinner on Thursday night and that's when she's seen you with the 2 girls. But if she really liked you, she would have responded back to that text message on Thursday. And the fact of the matter is, you went on 1 date. I don't think that is going to deny a girl that actually does really like you. I'm sorry. The girl that actually likes you, if you guys went on a first date, had a good time, even if she saw a picture with you and a friend and another girl, she might feel some type of way, but she's still going to engage with you. She's not going to completely drop you off because she's seen you with one situation. Now, maybe if she's mega avoidant, right, she sees that and she's just so scared and she feels the need to protect herself, truly. But what I feel like I'm seeing with this, honestly, is, I don't know, bro. Here's the thing. You could think that something went so fucking well and the date went fire, but you have no idea how somebody takes that date. You really do not. So here's the thing. What ends up happening is, and I think this is what's happening to you right now, when somebody doesn't answer us and they ghost us, you immediately go into thinking about, okay, what could I have possibly done wrong to deserve this kind of response? I know you're not seeing it that way, but that's what's happening, right? You automatically assume that the reason she didn't answer you is because she saw you with another girl. I don't believe that. I really don't. Because I'm sure your mind is probably going in circles thinking, how the fuck did we have a good date on Wednesday and no answer? What the fuck is going on? And then she turns around and at the end of the day, she didn't say, "Hey, I saw you with another girl," because you saw her out after that and she said, "Oh, sorry, I've been really busy." Busy? Come on. Cut that out. We're all busy. If she really wanted to text you, she would have. So I think that's the hard truth about this situation is that, honestly, again, it could be an avoidant woman. Honestly, somebody that when you showed up, you had a good date, you had a really good vibe. I'm always a big believer. Trust in the connection, trust in the intuition that you guys really did have a vibe. She might feel, oh shit, you're so available, you're so ready, you're so eager, and that maybe could be throwing her off. Especially college girl. College avoidant girl, oh my God. You're fucked. That shit's like mayhem. Some of those girls back in the day, like my gosh, you know, like that is the era, like college relationships. I told you guys, I do a lot of relationship history. Those ages, like 20, like 18 to like 22 are so destructive. Like people are just acting like assholes, but it doesn't, you know what it is? Cause you have no concept of what you're doing. You're just acting out your attachment issues subconsciously. So she might've gone on that, like I said, she could have went on that date with you, had a vibe and just thought to herself, nah, not for me. Or nah, he's cool and we had a good time, but yeah, I don't want it. Or maybe he's being so available that I don't want it. Oh, you texted her the next day and said you had a good time? Too much. But here's the thing, what I don't want you to do, I don't want you to blame your vulnerability. And this was what most people do. Oh, fuck, I was too nice to that girl. Oh shit, I should have never texted her the next day. Why did I text her the next day and said I had a good time? If she was really about it, that won't matter. That's what I said. You going out with that other girl won't matter. Honestly, I think that you getting caught out with another girl the next day sometimes influences it in a positive way. She's like, oh shit, he's a cool dude, right? He's a catch, right? I think a lot of girls might take that and be like, oh, we got a little comp. Now, a lot of girls might get a little fearful, and that's a little bit of what it is, right? I think an avoidant woman, she could clam up, right? And I think that's what we're going to talk about in the next question here when we're talking about people with like social media and stuff like that. But to my point, I just really think that the right girl is, she's going to answer you, bro. I think the worst thing that you could do in this moment is try to triple and double down. Because to me, that's your own anxiety getting the best of you. Because what you need to recognize is, hey, we had a good time. I texted her the next day. I did everything right. Right? Or not everything right, quote unquote. I did everything I was inspired to do. I did everything that my body felt was right to do. Now what you're getting into, if you text her again, would that be coming from a place of fear or from confidence? If you had ultimate confidence in yourself that you showed up vulnerable and honest, to me, I would leave that right there. I sent you and I told you I had a good time. Don't say anything else. That's it. All right. Next situation. This girl's talking about this guy's social media habits, and I think she was addressing certain things with him, but I think she wanted to bring up some topics around this, and I thought this was really good. So she said, he's gotten better and stopped liking random girls' pictures or following accounts, but I hear a lot of people on TikTok saying your man should unfollow all of those accounts. Again, what do we talk about? Ego podcast. That is a rule. That is a rule. I hate the blanket advice. It's fucking bullshit. It's bullshit. He doesn't need to go in there and unfollow everybody. That's horrendous. Because here's the thing, to me, and what we're going to get to in this question is, when you have a truly secure bond, his social media habits, to me, won't matter unless it becomes excessive. Seriously. So him not unfollowing people, people that are saying that are clearly, to me, avoidant, or they're using ego in their relationships. Because it's a symptom of a deeper issue. If you're scared about what he's liking and all these things, to me, there's a level of security that is not actually right in the relationship. So what people do is, on the surface, they try to fix it that way. Oh, well, yeah, you shouldn't be following anybody. Actually, you should be unfollowing all these girls. No, if you're truly secure in yourself, it won't matter who he had already followed previously. So she said, a lot of those accounts he followed before we were together. My question to you is, do you feel a man should unfollow those random influencers or models when he's in a committed relationship? Or just let him be and not focus so much on that? I think I just gave the answer, did I not? Which is like, I'm going to keep it real. Like, I think if some girl was telling me to go and unfollow people that I had already followed, I'm like, what is that? To me, that it's just reeking of insecurity. Because here's the thing, right? Yes, I might have followed these people, and yeah, maybe there was a vibe, or maybe we did have something in the past. But if I'm focused on you right now, none of those people fucking matter. And what I would really want you to focus more on is like, am I giving you security in this moment? Am I communicating with you properly? Am I showing up and giving you reassurance, depending on how deep we are in the relationship, right? Am I showing up and am I being honest? Am I being real? Am I giving you a sense of peace? And am I giving you a sense of security? If you're concerned about, the people that I already had followed on social media, to me, that's too much. To me, that's you trying to control the uncertainty. Oh, but what if he, likes one of their pictures, or what if a hot girl from his past pops up? Then your relationship right now is not that strong. So you said, I'm trying to be more confident and not compare myself, but some days it's really hard. I get that. That's honest. That's vulnerable, right? That's real. But I always tell people, if they're truly meant for you and they are choosing you, you will feel that way. You will. And his social media habits at that point won't matter, because the energy and the security and the ways that he's showing up to you will help you to feel that way. Now, I understand, a lot of people, what will happen is, because of your own subconscious fears, you'll start to look. I was on a podcast with this other girl this week, and she was talking about how every girl, when they start talking to a new guy, will go through his following list. Will go look through and snoop through his tagged photos, all this stuff, because she wants to see what's up. But what you realize in that move is you are perpetuating your own fear. You are. Your own subconscious feelings of not being enough are reinforcing this behavior, because what you're doing is you're looking for evidence as to why he might be potentially cheating on you, or he might be looking at somebody else. That is your own subconscious fears and beliefs. Because I think if you were truly confident and secure in yourself, you wouldn't need to look at that. Now, I'm not saying that you're completely not confident because you snoop through his following. I understand most people are doing that. But understand that when you're doing that, is that from a place of confidence and love? Ask yourself right now. Is that truly from a place of confidence? It's not. And so that's what I guess I was saying is like, to me, this is your own inner fears of you not being enough. And I know that that's hard. That self-doubt is going to happen. You're going to compare yourself sometimes. To me, that is very human. Like, don't look bad on yourself because you find yourself comparing yourself. But this is where the self-regulation comes in. This is what I was talking about being calm and not reacting. Right? To me, a reaction would look like, hey, I'm feeling some type of way. Let me go look at his following list. Oh shit, like who is he following? What is he looking at? Oh, look at this girl. Oh my God. That is you not feeling safe in your own fucking body. It's true. You don't. So there's women half dressed everywhere online, and I feel there is so much temptation nowadays. There's temptation every day, everywhere. There's temptation even back in the old days. I don't understand this idea. I understand social media has really perpetuated this access to temptation. But temptation's always there. Temptation's there at work. Temptation's at the grocery store. Temptation's at school. Temptation's at a walk around the park. Temptation's at the gym. Temptation is everywhere. That's what I'm trying to say. Is like, if it wasn't social media, I guarantee if I went to talk to some fucking lady, 100 years ago that was working on a farm, she probably would still have the same fucking feelings as you are. She probably would. She's like, oh, Jerry, when he goes into market, you know what I mean? She'd probably be like, oh, when he leaves the house and he goes to the bar. So much temptation. That's inner fear. It is. At the end of the day, everybody has all this access. You have this access. Let me ask you, is it not temptation for you? What, because you've seen a hot dude on TikTok making like a funny little fucking, I don't know, lip syncing video, all of a sudden you're going to cheat? No. If you care about somebody and you have a vibe with somebody, you're above that bullshit. See, and this is where that inner sense of security and that inner sense of peace and that inner sense of confidence really comes in. You got to believe that you are worthy beyond that bullshit. That's what self-trust is. It's the belief that who you are as an individual is worthy of a connection. So I know that's not really his fault, and it's something I need to work on as well. Yeah, we're working on it right here. She said, I also have a friend who is also in a healthy, committed relationship, but she found out her boyfriend sometimes watches porn. Oh, whoa, this is a whole different thing. I don't think it's like OnlyFans, just regular porn. And I sometimes wonder if my boyfriend watches porn as well. What's your thoughts on men in a relationship watching porn sometimes and the whole following models, influencers, and fitness models? Okay, I'm going to do these separately. And she's like, there's all these girl groups and so much advice online. It gets overwhelming sometimes. Okay. So yes, exactly. That's what it is. And remember, all the advice that you hear online that is not Chris, it's, it's mostly people perpetuating fear and ego. How do they control the circumstances, right? We control through preventative measures. Oh, you have to unfollow this person. Oh, you can't be doing this. You can't be doing that. Instead of looking at how do we feel? How do they make us feel? Do we feel secure with them? Not on social media, right? But let's break these two down in two different things, because I could tell you guys a personal story about porn for me. So to be honest, I don't think that porn is very healthy when it comes to your, I don't know, your sex life or just your love life with your partner. All right, partner. Because here's my thing, at least for me too, I struggle with like performance anxiety. I struggle with erectile dysfunction. I swear, this is real. And a lot of that I think was related to my habits around social media, around porn, and watching these things and getting off to this variety of content online. I started to recognize within myself, I'm like, it was hard for me to stay focused on a single person and really be connecting with somebody when it came to the actual act, because I was using content as a way to get off. So for me personally, right, you know what's crazy? I swear to God, this is real. I have completely cut out porn in my life. I've completely cut out using my phone as a way to get off. And so the only way that I self-pleasure at this point is with my imagination. Eyes closed only. It's crazy. It's really helped me a lot. Honestly, any guy that's listening to this, I really advise and to go. You want to know how crazy this is? I went into ChatGPT and I was like, hey, listen, we need to come up with a plan, because for some reason I'm really struggling when it comes to the actual act, right? With people that I'm meeting in person. And what I find myself doing is fantasizing about these pictures I'm fucking seeing, right? And it's almost like this desire for variety. And I was like, I really want to be able to sleep with people without having to use a Cialis, because that's what was happening. In order for me to sleep with people, I was having to take Cialis. Now, do I think that physically there might be something a little bit off? Sure, I do actually believe that. And does a Cialis every once in a while, is it nice? Fuck yeah, it is. It's amazing. Don't get me wrong. Killer. But I want to get to the point where I am so in tune with my body and I'm doing things in such a natural way that I have no issue with it. And what I have found over the last 2 months, I swear to God, I haven't touched anything like that in months. It might be 3 months or so right now. If I have regular intimacy, right, it feels so much better. I'm way more connected to my body. I'm way more connected to my breath. I'm way more connected to the feelings that I'm having, because now what I'm doing is I'm paying more attention to my feelings in that act. So to me, I truly believe that it's something that I truly would challenge a lot of men to do, is get off of that. Use your imagination. Don't touch it. Now, do I think a little bit of porn in your relationship destroys your life? No, it does not. Like, I know my guy friends, like I know a guy that like will watch porn and he has sex just fine with his girlfriend, you know? So to me, if it's not really affecting your sex life in any way, maybe it doesn't really matter, you know? But I do think in some weird way, in some like fucked up, like, I don't know. I've always just felt that like, it's not really cheating, you know, because I don't know, I guess it's just some like, it's really just used to get off. But I truly feel that just like doing things in a natural way to me is just better. It really is. That's why I'm off steroids. That's why I'm off a lot of these things, right? I don't even drink really protein shakes anymore. It sounds weird, but like, I just love like wholesome, whole food, whole sources of intimacy, whole sources of everything, right? I want good ingredients. I want good relationships. I want work that is truly feels like wholesome and real. It's all whole. Everything's a whole. But yeah, am I going to slight somebody for watching porn? No. Am I going to slight somebody for drinking a few beers every once in a while, smoking a joint, doing a little bit of coke every once in a while? No, I'm not going to slight you for that, right? But to me, it's about the amount and how responsible you are with that stuff. So if it's a porn addiction, that's when it gets out of control, right? Alcohol's the same way. A couple beers here and there, drinking a little bit here and there, fun. When it's every day and you're addicted and you can't get through a day without it, problem. So there's levels to it, right? I like to fully, like, I'm almost like the sober version of porn now, where it's like, I'm completely off of it entirely. If a guy is, doing it a little bit, probably not a big deal, And then the second part of it was like, what is the whole following models, influencers, fitness models? Yeah, I don't know. Like, do I have, I guess, fitness models and like influencers that I'm following? Like, yeah. Is that going to really detract me from like the girl that I'm supposed to be with? No, it's not. It really is not. Right? Like, I understand that, first off, a lot of these pictures are so edited and they're bullshit, whatever. The hard part for this question to me, it's really more about the person. I think that there are some guys out there that are like these like horny, really horny guys. I don't know how to describe it, where like you could just tell that their energy is like kind of slutty. You know what I mean? It's like, who are the people that you're choosing to date? That's what I would like to understand. Like, there are some guys that like, yeah, maybe they follow a couple fitness models, but like you could just tell when you meet them in person that they're pretty wholesome and it's not that deep. And like, yeah, maybe they, you're a guy. It's biology. Like, yeah, I see hot chicks. I'm like, oh, she's hot. That's great. That's cool. Again, is that going to deter me from focusing on one girl? Like, no, it's not. It really is not. If I truly care about you genuinely, the girls that I'm following don't matter. They don't matter. Now, the problem to me really becomes if you feel insecure in the relationship because you feel that that person is not providing a secure connection with you, or they're not showing up vulnerable, or they're being dismissive, or they're not showing up honest. To me, that's a symptom of a deeper problem, because you're looking at the social media activity, but really underneath, you actually just feel insecure about the connection. To me, it's really more about the energy, about your actual connection, rather than their social media activity, really. But I will say, just sometimes is a guy following all these models, liking all these pictures, can that be a symptom of a deeper issue? Yeah, it might be. He might be really avoidant. He might really not be ready and capable of true commitment. It's true. But is that, like I said, is that a catch-all? Is that the case every single time? No, it's not. Because again, go through my following right now. There's a bunch of hot chicks. And guess what? They're following me back. How are you going to feel? Insecure? Maybe. Does it mean that I won't like you? No. And do I even want a connection with somebody that I just find online? Not really. And like, it doesn't really matter to me. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's like the man's perspective, I would say, is just like, to be honest, some of this shit is really not that deep. We really don't look into it that deep. We really don't. Now, like I said, if I'm in a committed relationship, no. Am I liking hella bikini pictures? Am I following random Insta models? No, that's a problem. I think I did that when I was talking to the long distance girl. And like, to be honest, the reality is at that point, I was checking out, and I was doing that because I felt insecure in the actual relationship. So that's what I'm trying to say. I think if that activity is happening, it's probably a deeper sign of a deeper issue, that maybe you guys are not connected and maybe there is no actual security in that relationship. So to me, focus on the relationship first. How do you feel? Do you feel secure in this connection? Do you feel like they're showing up vulnerable? Are you guys having issues? Are you guys having problems? Are they creating distance? Those are the questions I would want you to answer first, because your answer is probably there, not just in the social media activity. The social media activity is just a surface. And again, it can mean two different things. If you're digging for something, to me, you're going to find it. But if you're seeing that activity and it's in your face because it's excessive, then you might want to go check something out. But then I would really ask you, like, again, how do you feel in this connection? So to me, it's really more, it's so much deeper than social media. It really is. And like I said, it's case by case. So this is where it's really important for me to get all the facts about how you feel in the connection. All right. Great work, y'all. I hope that gave you some clarity. I know we touched a lot on the avoidant women thing. You know, it's a tough thing. But yeah, I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. If you ever want to work with me, you know where to find me. And yeah,